For over 15 years, Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated has been a beacon of light, guiding local families through difficult times. Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated proudly provides all families with compassionate choices for professional funeral care at reasonable prices. Get the answers you need 24 hours a day. No answering services, hidden costs, add-on fees, confusing fine print, or those scary-looking contracts. Remember, Gallup Funeral Services owns and operates the only crematory in Dare County, keeping our cremations affordable and convenient. Gallup Memorial Chapel in Bargo, North Carolina is now open and minutes from Moyock and Elizabeth City. From traditional church services and graveside burials to direct cremations and advanced planning, let Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated light the way for your family. Don't be pressured or confused by the other funeral homes. It's always your choice. Choose Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated. Call Courtney at 252-216-8030 to get a plan started today, and visit our new website at gallupfuneralservices.com.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
News team, assemble!
Joining us live, because if you want to know anything about the Outer Banks, Sam Walker's the dude to fill you in.
The sea was angry that day, my friends. Like an old man trying to send back soup in a deli.
Always appreciate talking to you.
Always good stuff with Sam Walker in the Outer Banks.
Now here's Les Nessman and the news. Thank God it's Friday!
And good morning, everyone, and welcome to OBX Today for Friday, November 12th, 2021. I'm Sam Walker. Getting a little late start here as we have this power outages we're dealing with. It's kind of got us doing some technical issues with a couple of our radio stations. 99.1 sound off the air right now, so that's why power outage down in Wanchese. Pretty hefty storms that went through here about a couple hours ago. I'm going to have to guess probably what, about 5 to 6 a.m. When they roll through. Still got some rain out there this morning. And again, we got these power outages going on. We'll get right to them. Let me pull up our display here so you can see on the Dominion outage map where they're at. Wanchese, part of Wanchese is out, and also the Nags Head Causeway is out right now. The power outage, 105 customers there on the causeway. They just got all that new power lines up there this summer, the spring and summer, with the new equipment out there. And, sometimes things happen. Current estimate is between now and 11 o'clock this morning with 105 customers there on the causeway. We go down to Wanchese. This outage has been going on for a while. 171 customers. That's because of a tree down on a line, and they're working on getting that damage right now. 171 on that outage, another 5 on a little different circuit. It's 176 in Wanchese. So that's what's going on there with power outages this morning. And don't have anything else in the region reported from Dominion right now. Those are the only outages they've got on their map in all of northeastern North Carolina. So we're out in Roanoke Rapids. Don't have anything, I don't believe, from Tideland at the moment, so we'll check their maps to see if they have any problems on their circuits this morning, but I don't believe they do. We usually get alerts. It's a nice thing. Tideland does a really great job with their social media with the alerts. While we're looking at that, say good morning to all the folks checking in. George up in Connecticut always checks in with us every morning. Merman Dan. As well, and even got good morning to who was that checked in from Kansas City this morning, who was just here. I think it was Sasha, was that who it was? Saw somebody had checked in from Kansas City. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, Sasha, good morning from Kansas City. Was just out here last month. Glad to have you out. And thanks for checking in with us this morning. So, again, that's what we got with the power outages. I'll go back to the radar here in a minute. I'm just going to check one more time on the Tideland site. Yeah, nothing reported on the Tideland EMC or Cape Hatteras EMC. Here's, I'll go back to the display and show you. There's a radar right now. You can see the back edge of the shower activity has moving offshore. Still getting through Elizabeth City right now. A few light to moderate showers over Currituck and moving into Kitty Hawk and moving in onto the North Beach now. There's the bulk of the big stuff just off of Cape Hatteras now that went through a couple hours ago from this front. And this is the initial front we're going to get through this today. Temperature's still going to be, well, they're in the 60s? Yeah, in mid 60s right now. May get up to 70 as we get in through the rest of the day today. And then we got a secondary cold front that's going to give us a reinforcing shot, cooler weather for the weekend. And we'll get all into that weather forecast coming up in a moment. But that's really the big story right now, anyway, from the storms overnight last night. I say overnight. I mean, it was before sunrise. It was still dark when we were getting the blow here at my house up in Currituck. And those storms rolling through this morning. Not unusual at all for this time of year to get us a nice front like that. Again, that's the only two power outages we've got right now. I did talk about that power outage yesterday on the Dare County mainland. The nice thing about the rain, obviously, is it's going to wash off all the salt that had been in the atmosphere and gotten on the electrical equipment from the nor'easter last week. Even though the rain kind of helped wash things off, it still get that salt buildup from that onshore wind we had for a couple of days. That's a nice soaking rain that we got overnight this morning that should help alleviate that situation. Still waiting on the damage estimates from the weekend storm from the nor'easter as far as a dollar figure on those. But there's still some more damage being found, or not so much damage, but maybe some cool stuff that's washing up. This is a photo from Lighthouse View Oceanfront Lodging down in Buxton. We call them the motels when you come into Buxton. There's their old pool. They used to have an oceanfront pool there long ago. And as you can see, the high surf of the last week and the overwash exposing the sandbags that help protect that area, but also exposed their old pool. They had posted this yesterday on their social media, on their Facebook page yesterday. In fact, one of the commenters actually posted a picture from what it used to look like. That shows you how different things were. This is Hurricane Beryl, or when Hurricane Beryl came through. John Graham posted this as a comment on that photo. So there's how that pool looks now. Here's how it looks. I got to go back, and now I'm going to have to search when Hurricane Beryl was, because it's not, the year is not coming to me at the moment. 2018. 2018. Fast-moving storm. Or was that tropical sea? Where is, because Beryl's been used a couple of times. Hasn't been used since 2018 on the list. May have actually been Tropical Storm Beryl. For in southeastern North Carolina. 2006, maybe? I'm trying to look at it. Yeah, it might have been more 2006. You know what? We're going to have to ask what year that was. But that shows you how the ocean front in front of one of the motels, or in front of the motels in Buxton looked several years ago, and how it looks today. That was, it's just amazing how much of a difference a couple of years makes, and how much we have lost in terms of beachfront on Hatteras Island. Even with the nourishment projects, we've got another nourishment project next year for North Buxton in this area that you're looking at right now. And then obviously Avon and the North Beach is getting some sand as well in 2022. So we should be getting some more information next week. It looks like we'll start getting the bids in for the other projects. Some of the bids have come in. The other several projects still out for bid. Those bids actually are supposed to be opened possibly, I believe, this week or next week. And we'll be getting more information about that before the end of the month on how much they're looking at and if they're going to be able to do it this year at all. It looks like they are because we've already had a couple of the bids approved for some of the projects. So the others still waiting on those bids to come in. But that just shows you the power of the ocean right there. You can see the old pool there. The zigzag shape that it had. And then if you go back and look at that other photo, you see it right there. Wow. That's pretty amazing to see that still there right off of Buxton at Lighthouse View and the Oceanfront Motel there in North Buxton. All right. So it is OBX today here on Facebook and YouTube. Glad to have you along with us. Tropical weather update? Nothing at all. There's how things look the next 48 hours. We are not expecting anything in the next 48 hours from that. Oh, we got too many maps up here. Where's our tropical update lower third? That's what we wanted. That's the 48-hour map. Here's how things look on the satellite. There is our nor'easter way up off of Greenland and Iceland, headed that way now. Really has taken on a pretty good shape, but it lost any possibility of becoming a tropical cyclone yesterday. So it will not be named Aria. There's our front coming across right now. Here, this the initial front, the backside, the secondary front's out here. Got some snow up here in the Midwest this morning. But nothing else is possibly going to develop. Everything, this is just cloudy and shower activity out here in the intertropical zone. Nothing of any interest in the Caribbean. And then there's the tail end of the frontal boundary that's going through now for us over Florida. One thing that can happen with these frontal systems like this is that we could see something maybe possibly development on the tail end of this as it gets out into the open Atlantic. So we're that's what we're looking at as far as the tropics. There is nothing to talk about in the tropics now. So I guess that's a good thing, right? Right. Yeah. With 2 weeks to go in the tropical season. So, all right, it is OBX today here on Facebook and YouTube. I'm Sam Walker. Glad you're along with us. And stay right there. We'll be right back.
For over 15 years, Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated has been a beacon of light, guiding local families through difficult times. Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated proudly provides all families with compassionate choices for professional funeral care at reasonable prices. Get the answers you need 24 hours a day. No answering services, hidden costs, add-on fees, confusing fine print, or those scary-looking contracts. Remember, Gallup Funeral Services owns and operates the only crematory in Dare County, keeping our cremations affordable and convenient. Gallup Memorial Chapel in Bargo, North Carolina is now open and minutes from Moyock and Elizabeth City. From traditional church services and graveside burials to direct cremations and advanced planning, let Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated light the way for your family. Don't be pressured or confused by the other funeral homes. It's always your choice. Choose Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated. Call Courtney at 252-216-8030 to get a plan started today and visit our new website at gallupfuneralservices.com.
Our pet of the week for this week is Layla. This sweet and soulful lady is 10 years young. Layla loves to be held and also likes to talk. Layla is in the very early stages of renal failure, but we are working with our vet to ensure she is comfortable and thriving. At this time, we are looking for Layla to be placed in a foster or forever home. We would love her to be in a home very soon. She is perfect. To adopt Layla or foster one of our other animals, you can come visit us Monday through Saturday at our shelter located in Manteo. Look out for our next volunteer orientation that will take place Thursday, November 18th at 4 p.m. For more information, visit our website at www.obxspca.org or visit our OBX SPCA Facebook page.
And welcome back here to OBX Today live on Facebook and YouTube. Just got a quick update for you on the power outage this way situation. Causeway is back on. This latest from Dominion, still working on that outage down in Wanchese, caused by a tree that was down earlier today with the storms that rolled through this morning. And but the Causeway, Nags Head Causeway, is back on. They didn't say exactly what the problem was down there, but we're keeping an eye on that, and we'll update you further. New developments this week in the federal lawsuit over the shooting death of Andrew Brown Jr. by Pasquotank County Sheriff's deputies last spring. In filings released this week, Dare County Sheriff Doug Dowdy and 3 Dare deputies are no longer named as defendants in a lawsuit seeking at least $31 million in compensatory and punitive damages. The Dare County deputies, along with 4 Pasquotank deputies, attempting to arrest Brown on drug charges and serve search warrants from both counties when Brown tried to flee his home in the Roanoke Avenue section of Elizabeth City on April 21st. District Attorney Andrew Womble cleared the 3 Pasquotank deputies of any wrongdoing, saying the shooting was justified because Brown used his car as a deadly weapon and put their lives in danger. The filings also include evidence that one of the Pasquotank deputies who opened fire, quote, altered his weapon following the shooting. 3 Pasquotank deputies and Sheriff Tommy Wooten, along with his insurance company, are still named as defendants in the suit. The shooting led to weeks of protests in Elizabeth City. Portions of video of the shooting have been shown to the Brown family and attorneys, but continues to be withheld from release by a judge's order. A coalition of media organizations continues to press for the public release of all the video in the case. And we've got more details on the at obxtoday.com, including to a link to a story from WREL.com that talks more about that case. North Carolina Policy Watch, Rob Schofield, our pals out there, and Rob's going to join us here as a regular guest in the next couple of weeks on OBX Today Live. Give us a more statewide perspective, what's going on. Lisa Sorg, who is environmental reporter with NC Policy Watch, coming out to do a story on the situation at Eagle Creek, which is a neighborhood, golf course neighborhood up in Moyock. It's behind the middle school. Maybe you're not familiar with it. Maybe you've driven down 168 and saw the middle school. It's off by near the railroad tracks. There's a neighborhood behind that. That's Eagle Creek. And they continue to be dealing with problems with their sewage system. And the state has pointed fingers at private companies that own the sewer system. And Lisa does a great job of kind of sharing this story. We've talked about it here at OBX Today some, but she really gets in depth with the residents there and also with the companies that are involved. Lisa's a great reporter on environmental issues here in North Carolina, has been for many years, and that it really goes into the nuts and bolts of the situation that they're still dealing with these overflowing sewage systems backing up into houses in Moyock in the Eagle Creek neighborhood. You can check that out right now at obxtoday.com. News from the Outer Banks Hotline. Yesterday it was announced that Bronwyn K. Thornton has been elevated from board member to executive director of Outer Banks Hotline. Hotline chairperson Judy Burnett saying in a statement yesterday that Bronwyn has all the qualities needed to make Hotline better than ever. Her energy, business, knowledge, education, and standing in the community make her the perfect fit. She's been a board member with Outer Banks Hotline since 2018, serving recently as secretary. She's also on the board of the Dare County Arts Council, the Missions of Mercy Dental Clinic Task Force, and is currently on the board of the Community Care Clinic, and an active member at St. Andrews by the Sea, and has served on the vestry there. She and her dog Piper are a therapy dog team with Pet Partners and participate as part of the Outer Banks Hospital's pet therapy program. Business owner and longtime resident of the Outer Banks and native of Fredericksburg and Richmond, was married to the late developer Buck Thornton. Brown once said in a statement, "It's an honor and privilege to serve as the 5th executive director of Outer Banks Hotline," and said she's excited to steer such an amazing team of advocates, team members, and volunteers. And she points out they're so much more than a thrift store. Everyone knows them for their thrift stores on the bypass and in Manio. But she said she's somewhat surprised the majority of the public is unaware of the depth and breadth of the vital services that Hotline provides to the community as far as domestic violence, sexual assault, and human trafficking. She plans to increase Hotline's presence by improving awareness, expanding services, and increase partnerships with other local agencies. Among pressing concerns is reaching out to individuals in marginalized communities who may be hesitant to seek their services. So you can check that out on the Neighbor to Neighbor Help Zone at obxtoday.com the new executive director for Outer Banks Hotline, Bronwyn Thornton. A story from Coastal Review this morning from the North Carolina Coastal Federation. The Department of Energy has awarded Duke University a $7.5 million grant to research the impact that offshore wind development can have on wildlife and marine life. The grant, announced in October, is part of a large, substantial Sustainable Energy Development Award package of $13.5 million by the Energy Department. They'll distribute the funds among 4 different projects, all focused on wildlife and offshore wind. Earlier this year, the Biden administration announced the goal of creating tens of thousands of jobs while deploying 30 gigawatts of offshore wind by the year 2030. Meaning that goal could put the U.S. on a path to achieve 110 gigawatts by 2050. And, of course, there is the Kitty Hawk offshore wind project that has already been approved and is now in the deep into the planning stages and research stages, just over the horizon between Corolla and Southern Shores. It's going to be just over the horizon. The plans are to build these wind turbines that are not going to be visible from the beach. And one of the studies is how that impacts. This Duke study will show how projects such as that impact wildlife and offshore. A little more science news. We talked about it yesterday with the fireball and that I missed trying to see the International Space. Seeing the SpaceX launch and that fireball when that happened at the same time. It was back to me. Got a little more details about exactly where it started and where it finished. Now, based on reports, the American Meteor Society and NASA cameras located in western North Carolina, it only lasted about 3.5 seconds. Began about 48 miles up in the air above a point just northeast of Greenville, between Greenville and, say, Pine Tops and Macclesfield in Edgecombe County. It was moving northwest at about 33,000 miles an hour. And based on reports, it then kind of disintegrated 28 miles above Rocky Mount, or just southeast of Rocky Mount. It was moving at about 33,000 miles an hour, and this rock was estimated to weigh about the size of a football and about 40 to 45 pounds before it disintegrated. It's pretty cool how they can calculate that stuff. It's also believed to be possibly part of the Taurid meteor shower, which is going on and peaking this week. It was likely a chunk of the half-mile-wide asteroid 2004 TG-10, which passes through this part of the solar system every 3.3 years. That asteroid may itself be a chunk of Comet 2P Encke. So, I'm going to pull up my display here. WREL had a really good story on it. In case you missed it, here is the video that someone shot from Cary of that fireball. And I know it was visible here. It was back to me. I was looking to the east from my house here in Currituck, videoing at the time this happened, the launch of the SpaceX that, of course, docked with the International Space Station yesterday afternoon. And it was back to me, but I saw a flash, almost like I thought it was a car turn around in the cul-de-sac here at our house. I didn't realize what it was until after I got back inside and everybody was blowing us up. Did you see the fireball too? So there it is. That's the view from Cary. And that's pretty much the view everybody that had out here as well saw it pretty much look the same way. So I'll play it back for you one more time. But that's that fireball from the other night. So it's about the size of a football. Only lasted 3.5 seconds, and it was over Greenville and then over Rocky Mount is where it came into the atmosphere and ended. All right, it is OBX Today live here on Facebook and YouTube, and we've got more for you coming up next. So stay right there.
For over 15 years,
Our
Gallup
pet of the week
Funeral
for this
Services
week is
Incorporated
Layla.
has been a beacon of light, guiding local families through difficult times. Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated proudly provides all families with compassionate choices for professional funeral care at reasonable prices. Get the answers you need 24 hours a day. No answering services, hidden costs, add-on fees, confusing fine print, or those scary-looking contracts. Remember, Gallup Funeral Services owns and operates the only crematory in Dare County, keeping our cremations affordable and convenient. Gallup Memorial Chapel in Bargo, North Carolina is now open and minutes from Moyock and Elizabeth City. From traditional church services and graveside burials to direct cremations and advanced planning, let Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated light the way for your family. Don't be pressured or confused by the other funeral homes. It's always your choice. Choose Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated. Call Courtney at 252-216-8030 to get a plan started today, and visit our new website at gallupfuneralservices.com.
This week's Champion for Children is brought to you by Children and Youth Partnership for Dare County, helping families thrive. Jean Louise Dixon, director of the Hatteras Island Youth Education Fund, has been identified as a champion for children. Can you tell us a little about what you do to help children, youth, and families thrive in our community?
My name is Jean Louise Dixon, also known as Scout Dixon, and my husband and I moved to Hatteras Island in 1993. I am serving as the director of the Hatteras Island Youth Education Fund, which is a nonprofit charitable foundation that I established in 2010. I am also serving as the secretary of the Outer Banks Community Foundation and currently the chair for the scholarship committee. We raised 3 sons here, and when they first started school, I quickly realized that teachers in rural areas like this one cannot depend upon fall festivals to raise funds for projects, school supplies, or field trips. We do not have the population to fill the stands at athletic events to provide much funding for our booster club. The Hatteras Island Youth Education Fund supports the educational needs of elementary and secondary students by providing funding for equipment, material, and experiences that would not otherwise be available to these students through public funding. Teachers on Hatteras Island have an opportunity twice a year to submit their applications to our board. Our board is comprised of local community members. You can find a complete list of the grants awarded to date to our teachers on our website, hatteраsyouth.com. But to date, we have distributed over $436,000. A few grants to note. We purchased in 2011 the band uniforms for the first time ever for our marching band. We built a research pier behind the secondary school. We have supported the math competitions and the travel expenses for those competitions. We have paid for the DECA competitions, the supplies and the travel expenses for Science Olympiad. We have sponsored the University of North Carolina Destiny Science Lab bus several years to come down to our school. We have also sponsored a visit from the Moorhead Planetarium bus. So that's just a few of the grants that we've awarded to date. To be sustainable, we have 2 annual events. The Shore Break 5K and Tide Pool Fun Run is every Memorial Day in Avon, and then the Surf and Turkey 5K is held on Thanksgiving morning in Hatteras Village. I do want to say I greatly appreciate your recognition of my service to our community, but I must say that it is the volunteers that have supported High F over all these years that have enabled us to achieve success. So thank you very much.
Do you have anything special coming up that you'd like the community to know about?
Absolutely. The Surf and Turkey 5K and Puppy Drum Run is going to be held on Thanksgiving morning at 8 a.m. in Hatteras Village, and we would greatly appreciate your support. When you register for the race, now you can walk or you can run, you can bring your pet, and you can dress up if you want. You can join one of the teacher teams, and the teacher with the most registrations will receive $500 for classroom supplies. So thank you very much, and we hope to see you out there.
If people want to get involved with the Hatteras Island Youth Education Fund, what should they do?
They can go to our website at hatteраsyouth.com or friend us on Facebook.
If you would like to nominate a person or group to be a champion for children, please contact CYP at 252-441-0614.
Thank God it's Friday!
All right, back here on OBX Today Live on Facebook and YouTube. As we roll on through this Friday edition, Republicans in the General Assembly will hold votes next week on the state budget, despite not reaching an agreement, at least publicly, with Governor Roy Cooper It remains unclear what action Cooper could take, but there is talk that there are enough votes to override a veto now, if this passes. That's the rumors anyway, at least the considerations. Cooper acknowledged the negotiations with Republicans led to more money going toward education, but did not include Medicaid expansion that covered hundreds of thousands more people without health insurance. So it looks like the legislature is going to try to wrap it up next week. Still no word on the sports betting bill. It kind of stalled in the House committees. Those committees do meet this coming week because they are part of the budget process. But it doesn't look like the sports betting bills are going to get through the House. They passed the Senate, but it looks like they may not clear the House this week. And while this session is going on, and they would get bumped to the short session next year. State House Speaker Tim Moore says he is not going to run for Congress. There had been talk that he would run for Congress, but then he got put into the same district, essentially, that Representative Madison Cawthorn is in, out in the western part of the state. Cawthorn, or will be in. Cawthorn, of course, in the 14th district. Looks like he's going to run in the 13th district. He said so yesterday, but House Speaker Tim Moore says he will not be running for Congress. He's going to run for another term in the legislature in 2022. Now, there is questions about what would happen. This has come up now that the brother-in-law of North Carolina U.S. Senator Richard Burr has to testify in an insider trading probe. The Securities and Exchange Commission is investigating potential sale of stock just before COVID-19 caused the markets to plummet. Lawyers for both Burr and Gerald Foth have denied any wrongdoing. Burr has given no indication that he would step away from a Senate seat, which has 1 year left on its term. He's not seeking re-election next year. But if he were to do so, there are mechanisms in place. The governor would make an appointment, but there's a state law that was passed a couple of years ago that gives the party that holds that seat the control over appointing or nominating those who would be appointed. Could it be one of those who've already indicated? So it would stay on the Republican side. Or would it be among that group that's already said they're going to run for U.S. Senator when the filing opens next month? Former Governor Pat McCrory, current Congressman Ted Budd, former Congressman Mark Walker, already actively campaigning on the Republican side. That could create some problems within the Republican Party if one of them were appointed. Or could it be just someone who's a caretaker for a year that's not running? So just something to think about there. People have been asking about that, and it did come up. All right, let's move on to sports on this Friday morning. We start with the high school soccer playoffs last night. Manio, the number 4 seed in the 2A East, went down to Clinton, down to Sampson County, and beat the number 1 seed by a 2-1 score. The Redskins advancing to the regional finals, which will be Tuesday at Green Central High School down in Snow Hill on the other side of Greenville. That'll be Tuesday night. First Light comes up short in the 4th round last night, falling to Western Alamance 2-1. And the high school football playoffs, 3 games locally last night. Northeastern blew out Edenton 50-0. Perquimans over Riverside 38-26. Perquimans will play number 1 seed Tarboro next week. Northside's the 2 seed, and they beat Hobton 69-20. Some games tonight. So Northside doesn't yet know who their opponent will be, but they'll be at home down in Pinetown/Yatesville in Beaufort County. Gates travels out to Northmore tonight for their second round game. That's the only four local games in high school football. And now 3 local teams left. We'll see if we get a 4th in tonight. College football, North Carolina fell behind 17-0 in the first half. Looked just awful on offense. Defense did its job, though, for a change. In the second half, gives Carolina a shot. They get things tied up 23-23, kicked a field goal late to tie it. Had first and goal at the 3 in that final 2 minutes and could not punch it in. And then a deluge hit Pittsburgh. And Pitt goes on to win in overtime. They scored on their possession. Carolina unable to score. And the Heels lose 30-23 in overtime last night. NFL QB1 back in Charlotte. Cam Newton has signed with the Carolina Panthers. He is going to be the start. It's a good chance he'll be the starter next week after Sam Darnold went down with a fractured shoulder. Panthers playing Washington next week. NFL last night, Miami beat Baltimore 22-10. College basketball tonight. Duke, first home game in the last season of Coach K. As head coach, they play his alma mater, Army, tonight. Then they play Campbell tomorrow. My wife's alma mater. 30 years after playing each other in the 1992 NCAA tournament. North Carolina's home to take on Brown. Wake Forest hosts Western Carolina. East Carolina hosts Canisius. Radford's at Virginia, and Virginia Tech and Navy. That's tonight's games on the college basketball slate. All right, the OBX Today Weather Center forecast for today. We've got showers and storms ending as we get through the midday hours. Highs will be around 69 with south winds of 5 to 15, gusts to 25 at times. That's kind of why we got the winds like we did earlier. Partly cloudy tonight, 56, and winds will be calm. Tomorrow, sunny and a high 67. We'll start out with a southwest wind around 10 to 15 miles an hour, gust up to 20. Then a secondary front comes through. That's going to give the reinforcing shot of cold air tomorrow night. Clear skies down to 47 at the beach. Inland areas may actually get down into the mid-30s with northwest winds 15 to 20 miles an hour. Sunny and 60 on Sunday. Monday, sunny, breezy, 58. Sunny and just 54 on Tuesday. Then 64 Wednesday, Thursday, sunny and 68. All under sunny skies. So get the front out of here today, and we'll be sunny for right on into the middle of next week. Coastal marine forecast today. Small craft advisory with 2 to 3 foot waves in the sound, seas 4 to 6 feet. Water temperatures 59 on the north beaches, 62 down on Hatteras Island. High tide coming up at 2:24 this afternoon at Oregon Inlet. Sunset tonight at 4:57. Sunrise tomorrow at 6:36. And currently outside the studios in Uptown Nags Head, still some rain, overcast, and 62. Diane, you're asking what this shirt I'm wearing today is? That is the Orange Bird, one of our favorite characters. We started doing the Christmas decorating around here, so my Orange Birds have all been put away for Christmas. I have zippers and all, t-shirts and stickers and magnets. But yeah, Diane, that's the Orange Bird. So, all right, that is going to do it for OBX Today Live here on this Friday morning.
Thank God it's Friday!
Have yourself a great weekend, everyone. Back with you tomorrow. Thanks to Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated for being our sponsor here on OBX Today Live on Facebook and YouTube. We'll see you Monday.
Ladies and gentlemen, the weekend. Ladies and gentlemen, the weekend.